In this video, I really wanted to talk about solutions. Yes, a new approach towards entrepreneurship. Hi, I'm John McNeil, and this is the Invest Strong Network. Welcome. So, for the better part of a century, many state and local governments have been obsessed with protecting established industries in their jurisdictions. Now, this made sense. I mean, after all, these companies were large employers. They also generated significant tax revenue for the governments, and so it would make sense that they would try to protect them in some sort. Now, this protection of their incumbency frequently came at the detriment of small and micro entrepreneurs. Now, in the 21st century, certainly it's my belief that this kind of thinking has to change, right? And it has to change very, very quickly. And please let me tell you why. The CV-19 pandemic, if it has taught us anything, it has taught us how we cannot rely on large established employers to maintain employment or stability during times of crisis. And instead, entrepreneurs, especially on the micro level, would be far more valuable in maintaining income for themselves and for their families, even if large employers were laying off. Some state and local governments have begun to realize this, and they are moving in the right direction. So we'll give them some credit for that. But still, across our nation, many of them just are not quite getting the message that things have to change. So, what do I suggest? What are some solutions? Well, my thoughts go something like this. From my own personal experience, as many Invest Strong viewers know, I operate a small bed and breakfast here in Houston. Now, this bed and breakfast has been critical for myself as I have been laid off from my primary job, working at a hotel restaurant for the better part of 20 years, and they still have not rehired, right? So my bed and breakfast operations are critical. Yet, in the years that I've done this, I've bumped into some real roadblocks from the powers that be. First, I had to register to pay the occupancy tax to the state of Texas, right? The comptroller's office. Okay, but wait. Now I also had to pay a different occupancy tax to the local jurisdiction, HOT or Houston occupancy tax, and that's a totally separate thing. And I had to figure that tax out on a quarterly basis to pay them. Also, there were a myriad of municipal regulations that one has to comply with. And the city, in fact, actually wanted to send out an inspector to come to my small bed and breakfast, inspect it to make sure that something, I don't know why they wanted to come out and inspect it, because in order to get a mortgage on the property, I had to go through an inspection then. That inspection was still in vogue, but no, they wanted to do their own inspection. Oh, and by the way, you owe us $500 for the privilege. And there was the fire marshal. Well, the fire marshal has to come. They have to do their inspection, and they do their inspection. And oh, by the way, that'll be another couple $100 for us to come out and inspect it. Right? This has to change, friends. So whether you wish to perhaps sell empanadas or tamales on the street, or have a small bed and breakfast, or perhaps even set up a small beauty salon in or near your home, the approach that these municipal governments and state governments take towards your entrepreneur efforts have to be rethought. So for me, the first key, the first solution that I'm thinking of is that these governments must completely rethink the regulatory structure. So instead of trying to protect incumbent industries by setting up hurdles for upstarts and micro entrepreneurs, they would instead perhaps come to a conclusion at a roundtable and say to themselves, how can we assist the small and the micro entrepreneur to get up to set up shop? How can we help them get started? Right now, once they have rethought this and any regulations that really do not pose a threat to the health and safety of the community, once they've rethought this, then I believe that they would actually reduce, perhaps even eliminate many of the regulations that they apply to small businesses and micro entrepreneurs and the fees and permits that come along with them. So that's number one. Number two, I think it would be wise, very wise, if these municipal governments partner with state governments and set up a joint office of entrepreneurial development. So now, instead of having to run to different agencies and get different permits and different certificates and all of this, there can be one office in each town that you can go to. And you go to that office, and the way I envisage it, you enter the office at 9, 10 a.m. You get all of the regulations, all the certificates, all the permits that are required, and they will help you set up your tax structure so that you'll know all the taxes that you need to comply with, and then you're out of there by noon, ready to open shop the next day. That's what I'm thinking. That can be done, that should be done, right? And so a joint office of entrepreneurial development. Now, as an extension of that, what I think would be very, very apropos is once you have gotten all of these approvals and permits and certificates and all of this and that, that the state government, along with the local government, will set up for you free of charge all tax compliance software. So you do not have to spend hours each month or each quarter trying to figure out who gets what and how and things like that. No, they've already had the software developed. They will basically hand it to you for free and say, look here, Mr. or Mrs. Small entrepreneur or micro entrepreneur. This is the software. This is what you need to do. Go for it. Right. That approach, I think, would cause just a huge boom in the economy and micro entrepreneurship. And I think eventually it will even include revenue enhancements for the governments, because right now so many of this taxation is so complex and onerous that many small and micro entrepreneurs do everything they can to avoid it, right? And that's not what you want. What you want is to make it as easy as possible for persons to comply with the tax structure. And what better way to do that than by providing the compliance software for free, right? And I think also to really encourage entrepreneurship, certainly like myself, which I have found, what these state and local governments might want to do is provide a certificate for $120. Well, why $120, you ask? Well, this $120 certificate could be used for 3 hours of software website development with a professional developer for your enterprise. Because actually, software developers and website builders, their average fee is less than $40 an hour. So you can take, the micro entrepreneur can take this certificate for $120 to a professional web designer, and they will set up a professional looking website for you, make all the connections you need with telecommunications and whatnot, perhaps even set up a payment structure with PayPal or Square or Venmo or Zelle or whatever it is, and get you in business, right? How wonderful that would be. Well, those are my thoughts, and really, I think all of these solutions will go a long way towards really promoting entrepreneurship, especially on the micro level, and really benefit both the individual and the country as a whole. All right. So let me know what you think. I would appreciate it. Please smash that thumbs up button, right? Hit it, thumbs up, make it blue, right? And also comment. Let me know if you have a suggestion, things that could benefit the entrepreneur, enhance the entrepreneurial aspect. Let me know. And of course, come on. What am I going to say? You know what I'm going to say. Subscribe! Yes, subscribe to Invest Strong. I'd appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much, friends, and good fortune.